listen up. Okay, listen up. Okay, listen up. Okay, listen up. Okay, listen up. Okay.
Yeah, just gonna do one thing right now. Clear my throat. In the book, it's called a trim reveal piece. It's a piece of trim that covers up the end of the windshield under here, and it's steel, but it has a coating on it, because if you look the other side, see, it's got a tiny bit of rust, but not really, and they got like a clear coating on it. I really don't know what it is, but in 34 years it hasn't rusted. This is right out in the open. You see the metal is actually curled up on this end, and they paint over that coating, whatever it is. And the only places that have lifted is right on the edge, like where the wipers come down. And there's a place right here you can tell where the wipers have come down over and over and over. And a really, really weird thing about all Riatas, or most of them, this screw right here was not put in properly at the craft center when they made a lot of these Riatas. And guys in the club can, back that up. And what happened was the edge of the screw would hang out because it was crooked when they put it in. And when the wiper blade came down, the rubber would hit against the head of it, and just not much long at all, it would rip the wiper blade. And it's just a defect. I guess they corrected it in 1990 maybe, and the 91s, but the 88 and 89s, yeah, they all had this one right there. So that'll be, it's just, drill the hole differently and put a different screw in there, no big deal. But I'm going to take this down to just rough it up nice, and glass cleaner, and then throw some of the etching primer on, some high build primer, knock it down nice, and I got some black SEM trim paint. It's like flexible paint, and that'll make it nice. So I like the warmth of it being outside, because the primers will dry fast, and then it'll flash nice for the color. Hopefully to get this done today, because this has to go back on before anything else you just see me took off earlier. This has to go on, and then the cowling, they call it, big plastic piece for the wiper arms, and then you could put the wiper arms on and all it. It's like a puzzle. But I gotta get that part done, get this up in the air, get underneath of it cleaned, so I can put it back on the road here. Alrighty, let me get this hooked up and This thing is curved in like 3 different directions. It's like trying to hold a razor blade. So, okay. Now we're, let's see here. 120. And now we'll go to 220. And before I paint it, I'll put on some, plastic gloves and wipe it down with glass cleaner and all that. You'll see me. So this is 220 right now. Hope everybody's in good health, good spirits. What's nice about this mouse sander, it's easy to, it's easy to say, well, whatever, but it's got the nice point, and you could take the entire pad off and just leave that point, and they have pads where it's just the point for getting into corners, whatever. But what's nice about this is it isn't going around and around. You see me get up close to my t-shirt or something, it's not going to grab my shirt, it's not going to grab my hand, it's not going to go flying off the workpiece. It's just oscillating, vibrating, and that helps to remove the rust too. I always like little Black & Decker things like this. I bought this new, and this will be the first time he's using it. So, alrighty, enough of my jabbing around. So this is 220. I couldn't really put this in a vise. It's got this angle that goes up like this, and then it's curved to the windshield. It's like, what are you gonna do? I just pick a middle and then do one half at a time. Take all the low places out. I can't worry about high places, they'll be bare metal. At least the low places will get their primer and paint though, I don't want any trick eyes, hopefully. I mean, this is just molding, and it's under the edge of the hood, but it's there, Just one of those things, What's nice about this too, it's got the nice edge, you can tip it up, and like what I'm doing here, just clean this edge really nice. So that lip goes up right there. I gotta be so careful I don't push hard on this because it'll bend. I mean, it is pretty tough, but it's, and no, it's not aluminum and it's not stainless steel because a magnet drips onto it. So I tested that last night. I couldn't figure out why is the one side chrome and the other side's black. Now I know they put this clear coating on it and then painted it black. I don't know why they did things like that. I thought it was like a powder coating on the brackets. It's a heavy-duty coating, but it's hard to get off and renew again, What's nice too, even if you have round paper, you put it right on here, it don't matter because it's not going around and around. This little triangle. You can use up all your sandpaper. I'm glad I got this car cover. I wouldn't be able to do this on the back of the car. Even though the paint job is messed up right now, I don't want to gouge the metal, you know. Yeah, you got to be careful with all the flaky, loose things are off. I try to look at it in different angles, you know. Alrighty. So next will be the higher numbers after the primer. Nice invisible glass cleaner. Flood it really, really good. That helps to rinse it down, helps to cool it down. Evaporative cooling. A nice clean microfiber towel. And I just use these food service gloves, they're called. You get like, I don't know, a couple hundred, and they're really, really cheap. I mean, like nothing. But you know, you use them and throw them away. I can't blow a lot of money on nitrile gloves. You know, maybe if I had a garage, you know, where it would just be part of keeping my hands clean on multiple vehicles. But if I you know, do anything where like I don't want to get paint all over my hands, you know, I try to use, you know, just these food service gloves. They're good enough. Yeah, they're cheap, whatever, who cares? As long as it keeps your hand oils off of the, I'm not worried about getting my hands dirty. I'm more worried about the hand oils and sweat and whatever else getting on there. Thing about plastic gloves, though, you got to be careful. You can't tell if they're contaminated. You know, all of a sudden you get some anti-seize on your glove. Now all of a sudden everything's got anti-seize in it, including your eye now because you touched your eye or some crap. Ugh. I think we've all been there, done that with the anti-seize. One little glob gets in your washing machine. Oh my God. Yeah, boy, that glass cleaner really does a good job. It pulls all the contaminants right out of it. And this thing's hard to hold. It's like trying to hold a wiggly razor blade. careful you don't bend it. Even though it does have a curled edge, that kind of helps it, but it is flimsy. I can imagine this would bend very easily and turn into a useless piece of metal pretty quick. Even though I'm not painting this side, I just want to clean it up. Yeah, it's really, really dirty. Maybe I should have washed it before I did all this. Glass cleaner's doing a good job. It's going to take a little while. It's pretty heavy. Well, isn't that weird? Imagine that clear coat on your entire car. No more paint. I don't know, would you do that? I don't know if I'd do it. I made sure and got around every screw hole too. That's like an edge, you know, it's where the paint likes to not adhere. I did clean it up in the house, but not like this. I don't want to spray any kind of aerosols all over the kitchen, you know. I got to think of my neighbors, you know, they don't want to breathe that in. Neither do I, really. I wish that dog would lose his voice. I think it's a basset hound. It barks constantly. I don't know how it barks that much, actually. It's like some kind of magic dog. Alrighty, one more preliminary wipe with the last clean edge of the rag. This is a brand new rag right out of the box. Alright. That clean. Alright, now we're going to get a couple of zip ties. Okay, a little clip on the zip ties there. My trusty collapsible rod here. I think I gotta make it a little bit bigger. Move that out. Ooh, move that out there. I didn't account for, let's see, pull this out a little bit more this way. I didn't think it would be that long. Yeah, insert joke here. The other end of the pole here. Hold on a second. Okay. See here. It's kind of a chore to paint. Yeah, just use the tripod as one half. There we go. Okay, now I got to get the glass cleaner and wipe it down one more time because I just had to touch it without gloves on because the gloves were getting yucky. Yucky. Don't worry, you're not missing nothing. Just hold on a second. Can't forget that I got the camera holding Okay, that looks about right. I already mixed this up pretty good earlier. This is the Eastwood Acid Etch High Build Primer. if it's going against the elements, you know, and like at the base of your windshield, you really can't get any worse conditions than that. Think about it. And once again, we're just going to use a brush that I've kept in some mineral spirits, just plain paint thinner mineral spirits. Just leave the brush in there, that way it doesn't get hard. And if anything is left in the brush, it actually acts like a reducer when you go to paint it on. Acetone's not bad, but you got to be careful what container you use for it. Acetone can eat certain things, and this is just an old one of those little coffee plastic coffee things, you know, with a big Ziploc bag around it. Now this initial coat of an acid etch primer is the most important. It doesn't matter how you get it on, just get it on. Brush, roller, spray. Okay, because you're putting on another coat, yes, and you're going to sand it down, obviously. But that's why it's high build. And the acid etch, you know, just get it into the surface, let it do its thing. You don't want to put it on too heavy initially because then it won't dry right. So you just want to get it on. And watch out, like what I'm doing, over brushing it when it's hot like this, because then you get a huge brush marks that nothing will cover up. You gotta be careful you get the edges. And that's where the paint begins to lift, is the edges. Just like peeling a piece of fruit. That's how any kind of coating is. You get the weakest edge and just start peeling. And almost done with the first coat here. I'm not going to do the other side. There's no sense in it. Okay. Put this back in the center. Zip it closed. Lid back on the primer. Yeah, there's a few drips here and there. You let it dry though, they'll just fleck off. This is not the paint dry channel. Okay, this is coat number 2 of the etching primer. Whenever I use a can like this, I always try to put it into a cardboard box, you know, just in case it gets knocked over or drips or whatever, you know. Just better, you know, a drop cloth is ideal, but I'm not going to break out a drop cloth for this little job. I'm not really dripping anything anyway. I'm trying not to anyway. Now for this coat you got to wait about 2 hours, especially with this humidity. You wait about 2 hours and then it'll be dry enough where you can then knock it down with what I got there, 400 and then 800. No, 400, and then I'll put the sandable primer on it and then hit that with 400 again, 800, and then 1000, and then I'll get the black on it. A couple coats. This isn't like a trim like what you would think a regular trim on an old car, you know. This is, I looked it up in the book. It says the Windshield Reveal. I don't know how they come up with these weird names, but it's it hides the transition between the windshield and metal, I guess. I don't know, it's like a molding, you know, like anything else. What's nice about using zip ties, you know, they're plastic, they don't really glue to the paint very well. When you get done, just clip them off, you don't care. Gotta be careful here, I don't make huge brush marks. Because this acid etch primer is very, very hard when it dries, and it's hard to knock down those lines, brush lines, brush marks. everywhere one of the screw holes is, you're going to have a little run on the other flipped side of it, just from like what I'm doing now. Make sure you dab it in the hole, you know. Alrighty, that's it for primer and brushing. So when I come back in a couple hours, I'll be able to sand it down and try to keep this outside too, you know. There's no reason to bring that in the house. Yeah, this is the next primer I'll be using. Sandable primer. Put a couple coats of that. And a couple coats of this flexible SEM coating. And a couple coats of high temperature clear, and then I'll hit it with a heat gun. Make it flow really nice. Because, you know, the wipers are going to be hitting against it constantly. These are hideaway wipers. When you turn the windshield wipers off, they go down under the hood. And they constantly rub on this piece. So that's why this really has to be like, you know, have the crap coated out of it. Alrighty. Okay, it's about an hour and a half later, and the acid etch primer is all as dry as it's going to be. Just wanted to make sure that it didn't get any tighter on me. If you bend the end over, it won't go any tighter. I'm just going to leave these zip ties right on here, and I just got more I can put on to keep it more away from the rod here when I'm using the aerosol can. The little, hold on, I'll put it in front of the camera here more. Even though this primer is really hard, I'm trying to not mar it. There we go. Let's see, is that gonna... Okay. You look at even the drips are like, it's like concrete. Okay, so I guess I do gotta cut these off. I got a pocket full anyway. Okay. Yes, I actually keep them. I put them in the garbage. Well, recycle. Just my bag of goodies over there. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's so humid out here. Oh, trying to get this into paint before it rains. Anything big and obvious you can take off by hand before, like this, you know, big chunks of anything. It's like I said, this is hard as a rock now, that etching primer. I don't want big chunks to get caught in the pad though, yeah. And now this is 240, and it's round. Goes right on the mouse. See? Now I'll put it to that one. Well, let me get the. I'm gonna need the tip, but we're just going over that lightly. You don't have to worry about it flying off or anything. I'm not going to wear gloves yet because it's not ready to paint yet. Yeah, this is nice. I'm going to put this more on the, let's see here, what am I doing here? Yeah, I need this edge. There we go. I'm just going over it very lightly. I'm not trying to take the primer off, just trying to kind of level it down, you know, get a little bite for the aerosol primer to add on to. And, you know, like I said before, this is under the hood. It's where the wipers head into constantly, and that's why I'm trying to coat it as heavy as possible. I'm not concentrating on Concourse. What is Eric over at Southwest Custom Garage, whatever? What's his area code? Is he a clown too? I used to love that show. And many, you know, many just takes it in one ear and out the other. Many loves them. Thank God for many the body shot girls. And nobody else would put up with him. Nobody. Nobody would put up with him. When he dies, he's going to get to the pearly gates and they're going to be like, oh no. Better put him in the category where Andrew Dice play, you know. Not wanting to take bullshit out of anybody. I don't blame him either. That's how you ought to be. You gotta be like that. I'm just doing this to make sure the next coat of primer doesn't have a problem gluing onto it, you know, sticking. Especially the edges. Every one of the holes has got it all baked in it. That's okay. Anything wrong there. As long as it's covered. what I was talking about before, a couple of videos ago, if you, okay, like if I just left this laying out in the elements, it would absorb, every time it rained, it would absorb it, and it would sit there and just rot the metal. And that's why one thing, after you wet sand, I always like to use 99% isopropyl. That takes all the water off of it, or at least a good glass cleaner that has, like what I'm using here, that has SD alcohol, saturated, denatured alcohol in it. Okay, now we're going to 400. Whoa. Alrighty, I gotta wipe it down, hang it up. Back to this invisible glass here. Love the crap out of it. Okay. Gotta put on my gloves. Even though it's only primer, I don't want to touch it with my bare hands. Okay. Be nice if the head was a little bit bigger. Wouldn't pull through the hole. It's the first click. I think that should be enough away from the... There we go. Alrighty, what are you looking at here? Let's see. Okay, this is the first coat of this. I've had it out here in the heat, but not in the direct light. And it's overcast right now anyway. I wouldn't paint a car in this humidity. No matter what you did, it would fish eye like crazy. Unless you had a booth. Even though I'm going to knock this down again, I'm trying not to put it on heavy. I don't want it to run. Trying to make sure I get those edges, boy. That's the first place it lifts up off of. Okay. I just go around to the back edge of it real quick, dust it, so the edge has a little something to glue to, yeah, glue on to, glue on. Isn't that a part of an atom? Glue on? I don't know. "10 minutes between coats, and then 30 minutes before sanding or applying any more." So, be back in a few minutes to do the last coat of primer. Okay, this is coat number 2 of primer. Sandable primer. There we go. That's a nice coat and a half. Let's call it that, because it is nice and heavy out here. Humid and hot. That's flashing off very nicely. I give you a little look here. Come on, darn it. There we go. It's one of those little hot shoe connects, they call it, I guess, or whatever. It's just an Amazon Basics tripod. Really, you know, economical. See, I haven't got a level on it. If you want a bubble level, you know. I had to put some WD-40 on the legs, though. They were really stiff. I was afraid I was going to break these little clips, but it works good. So here's the two nice, okay, this is 2 coats of etching primer and then 2 heavy coats of sandable primer. Little imperfections like that, you know, it'll come out. It's not that, you know. Okay. We'll get back to you with the first sand it down 1,000, or I got 800 and then 1,000, and then wipe it down and paint. That might be later, I'm not sure how the weather goes. Alrighty. Of course, the bloody fire alarm has to go off. You won't be able to hear it anyway. So this is 800 now. Just P800. Just gonna put it right in the middle. So what's nice too, you know, you can get edges and curves, nice and careful, because it just curves up around it, you know. So I'm not gonna push anything really hard with this. And then the 1,000, then I'll throw the paint on. I'm just gonna leave the zip ties on. Go around them really carefully. I burned through a little bit right there. I caught it too hard. That's okay. Oh yeah, earlier I thought his name was Eric. His name is my friend Pete. That's that guy that yells all the time. I had to think about that for a few minutes. Like, wait a second, what's that guy's name? My friend Pete. So that's the 800. And now we'll go 1000. P1000. I'm seeing raindrops. Alrighty. Right after I paint this, I'm going to take it under the patio, just in case it begins raining. Because you can get primer wet, wet sanding, but you don't want to leave it out in the rain. And then if you're just painting, you don't want that to get wet. I'm hoping. My last clean part of the rag. And just like before, you just want to flood it. Let all those little particles run away. Well, you could tell a couple of lines from that damn etching primer. But boy, that stuff's like concrete. I don't think there's any chance of this thing rusting. It was beginning to around each screw hole and the edge where the coating had lifted. Other than that, it was in good shape. I got lucky. Because this is right near the elements. And the wiper blades rest on it. Okay. Okay, this is the first coat, flexible coating, SEM. I noticed about this SEM paint, it's very, very tacky and heavy duty. I know that. Okay, that's one what I call medium, I guess, coat. Trim piece like this while it's hanging up, you know, because it's curved, you're going to have paint that inevitably runs down and drips. You really can't help it. But at least you know it's on that corner good, you know. So what is the flash time of this? Let's see here. Probably just like anything. 5 or 10 minutes between coats. Allowed to dry 24 hours before use. Oh, that's no problem. Because this, when this gets done painted, I give a couple of days and I'll put it back on the car. It's just black. Also, too, this is it's for leather and vinyl, but because it's flexible, you can use it on trim. It's permanent, you know. It's not like it wipes off or anything. It's just that it's a flexible coating. You can put it on your leather seats or vinyl seats or dashboard. I don't know how much your dashboard flexes, but maybe with vibration or something. What that means, though, it just doesn't get hard and crunchy like regular paint does. It stays a little flexible. I'm just keeping it mixed up here. Okay, let's give it one more coat. Bring it over to the patio. Bring it over to the patio, and that'll be it. I like to do it like this, that way it keeps it mixed. And to put it on heavy without it running, you know. Because it's so warm and humid out here, I'm just painting right from the can. If I was doing this with a gun, I'd have to have a specialty reducer. That's all that body shop, millions of dollars, you know. Not around here. This is Hubba Bubba Doopy Doop in his driveway. And boy, does it look like it. I said it before, I'll tell you again. I want this thing preserved. The windshield wipers hit against it. Every time you push the button, they drag on it. So how thick do you want the coating, huh? Alrighty, gonna get it over to the under the patio. I can leave it on this pole that I got it attached to. It's a little wet looking right now, but it's kind of like a dull satin black when it dries, and that's nice. I don't want a gloss black. Alrighty, catch you later.
Hasta la vista.